You're listening to a special presentation from Night of the Living podcast, Zoned Out with Freddie and Joe, and today's special guest, Matt Hoffman. Oh, my.
Don't you know that Matt has joined us? We're so glad that Matt has joined us. Can't you see that Matt has joined us?
Oh, my God. I don't know how to move on from that. That's like
catchy, though.
you just
Catchy. We've been thinking that all day.
new core memory was created.
I was really hoping the syllables would all line up, and I wouldn't be like, "Don't you know Matt?" Oh,
Oh man, we're getting into a good
But like
one.
the theme song said, I'm here to join you guys.
yes,
This one,
yes.
I think Matt, you and I both are big fans of this one because this is one of the first really horror straight up ones. This Howling Man, original air date November 4th, 1960. This is the 6th of 9 episodes directed by Douglas Hayes. If you want to hear more about that, just listen to and When the Sky Was Open. We get into a lot more about him there. 5th of 22 episodes written by Charles Beaumont. And we covered him back in Perchance to Dream in more detail. But same name, short story. You can find it in a couple of collections like I think Selected Tales or Selected Stories by Charles Beaumont. Cast of 7, including Serling, Brother Jerome. He's the head of the Hermitage. John Carradine's playing this role. If you don't know who that is, he's prolific as hell. He was in everything growing up, and he's the patriarch of the Carradine clan. So this is the only time he appears in the original series, but he comes back in 85 for the reboot. He was born in Poughkeepsie. He was a sculptor, which is something I didn't know before this, until he started acting in New Orleans in 1925, and then transitioned to Los Angeles, doing theater stuff and then voice roles, and then he ended up on the screen in 30, and then from there out he did like 200 credits or something crazy. So yeah, he's also known for the horror genre. If you're a horror fan, which most people listening to this are, he's throughout the history of horror. He pops up, especially in the B and C grade stuff. He just would not turn down a role, it felt, for a really long time. Kind of notorious for maybe being, in his cups or however you want to say it during a lot of these films.
He's got some great face in this one.
He does. He's under so much, beard and hair. He's so just this luxurious hair that I almost didn't recognize him. David Carradine said that after he had died, David Carradine is John Carradine's son. They brought the coffin in and they opened it up, and they said his face was all contorted. He looked like he was laughing, like demonic looking expression. So he had learned movie makeup, so he applied that to fixing his deceased father's face before they had the wake.
Oh man.
Cool.
It's pretty wild, right?
My
Yeah.
kids love me that much to do that to me.
Yeah, it's like just to recontort your dead rigor mortis face. It's kind of horrifying, but it's also real sweet.
You open it up, and you're like, Dad looks like a freak right now. What are we gonna?
Final mutation before we lay to rest.
I don't know. Let me tug on some muscles behind the skin and see what I can do.
He said he made him look recognizable, made him look like who he looked like. You know what I mean? They brought him back to that state. I didn't know he was Martha Plimpton's grandpa. I also learned that while researching this episode. I always think Martha Plimpton, The Goonies, first thing that comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
But she was really good on Raising Hope too in that sitcom. So the thing about John Carradine, another cool thing, connection to the main show, Night of the Living podcast. We're doing Vincent Price at the time as our theme. He appeared in 7 movies with Vincent Price, so that's pretty nuts too.
Wow.
Frequent pairing. In fact, one of the movies we're going to be covering this week called House of the Long Shadows. The week that this episode is being recorded, of course. I don't know how this lines up, but in a real world timeline. So we have this cast of 7, I believe. We got to Brother Jerome. He's the head of the Hermitage. Then David Ellington is the man lost on a walking tour. This is H.M. Wynant, who Also,
What is a walking tour? This is something that I gotta say, like when you're watching something for a podcast, it's so much different than watching for enjoyability. I've seen this episode, I can't think of how many times. It just kind of gloss over. Okay, this guy's here for some reason. And I'm not listening to it. Fuck it. What is a walking trip? And if it is what I think it is, like walking through Europe, why does he have nothing? Why does he have no backpack? Why is he wearing the clothes he's wearing? I feel I'm not following. Maybe I just don't know what a walking trip is. Do we know?
I would assume like backpacking, like you said, but again, he had nothing.
He carried nothing. He's so unprepared for this walking trip, I feel.
And his coat is like immaculate when he gets the door. If you look at it close, it's like
maybe he just started the walking trip.
Fresh off the shelf.
How did he get lost?
He's that bad at
He
it.
had to have been walking long enough to get lost, but with no supplies either.
Well, what's interesting,
these are the things that, but podcast watching does to you instead of casual watching.
I figured out later.
I feel like for all the good writing, they could have like thought up something,
just a little something,
anything,
I don't, so they mentioned the village nearby of Schwarzwald, and I looked that up because I'm like, sometimes they put a little, little Easter egg in there. Well, Schwarzwald translates to Black Forest. So this is like a little city that is the Black Forest. And if you know much about the Black Forest in Germany,
it's where they make ham, right?
Well, and that delicious cake.
Exactly. Yeah. And the
cake.
And it's where all Grimm's fairy tales are based. So like when they talk about the Black Forest, like there's the legend of Der Grossman, the tall man, which is like a disfigured man with bulging eyes from like 16th century woodcuts. So he's the influence for like Slender Man and later. So like it's all this stuff that's very like spooky kind of mythological legend stuff all tied together, folklore.
It's great setting.
It's interesting. It was deep.
Yeah, and
it's cool.
You do feel like when we'll get into it as get into the story, but Ellington's first appearance again, sans any supplies, which is weird, but like, but it's so evocative. It's almost like Dracula or something in the beginning. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was a little thrown at the beginning, and we'll get into it later, where he just basically says he's lost like 3 times. He's like, I'm lost, but I don't think you understand. I'm lost, and I'm lost. I just kept thinking of Happy Gilmore. She's old. You can't take her stuff. She's too old. Look at her. She's old. Anyway,
it influenced everybody. The Twilight Zone. Why not? Right. I just thought something interesting about H.M. Wynant is his son is the percussionist for Mr. Bungle. You guys know Mr. Bungle?
Oh,
that's Mike Patton's group, right?
Yeah, one of Mike Patton's like, it's like not a super group, but yeah, it's one of his like side projects, I guess. I like them.
Fantastic.
Oh, that self-titled album is just top to bottom so good. That's crazy to hear.
Yeah, his son is William Wynant, but yeah, on the Blu-ray for this, there's an interview with Wynant too, which is pretty interesting, just about him getting the part just because he ran into Buck Houghton in the parking lot at CBS, and then all this shit just happens. The Howling Man. This is Robin Hughes. This guy was in the Royal Navy during World War II, and he was on the HMS Hood just before it was sunk by a German battleship. He was transferred like right before it happened, so he dodged death. There's a few people who cheat death in the Twilight Zone cast history, and he's one of them. Brother Christophorus, this is Friedrich von Ledeber, who is this German actor, or Austrian, sorry. He was an aristocrat in Austria. World War I veteran. He was in the Austrian cavalry. So he became, and he was also just kind of an adventurer in his life, and then he became a Hollywood actor and settled down into being a Hollywood actor. And he's best known for playing Queequeg in John Huston's adaptation of Moby Dick from '56. But he's just a really like tall, like cavernous cheekbones, just an interesting looking guy.
Very striking.
Yeah, definitely stoic. The housekeeper, the only reason I mention her is that she's going to come back. That's Azelle Poole, who she's going to come back in season 3 for the last rites of Jeff Merlebank, where Jethro Clampett comes back from the dead, if you remember that one. Yeah, about the episode, Beaumont originally envisioned the monks would be using a cross to keep the Howling Man at bay, and they were worried about the controversy, so they changed it to the Staff of Truth, so they wouldn't offend, religious groups.
But even back then, got to be careful. If they don't want to get canceled, all of a sudden, Twilight Zone's Instagram is banned.
You can't even like say that you like Twilight Zone anymore. It's that controversial. Because of the crucifix.
Yeah.
Satan's transformation, where he changes in front, and Ellington watches him change in this episode. That doesn't happen in the short story. He figures it out through newspapers, where he kind of, that classic trope where you're like, he was here and here, and then he became a Nazi commander and invaded Poland and all this stuff. But I actually prefer the TV episodes way of handling it. It's more dramatic.
Yeah.
The rain on the windows and everything is in the candlelight sets, just great. The Dutch angles, all that stuff kind of predates Steadicam. What they would do with Steadicam now, they had to kind of figure out back asswards how to do the same shit a guy walking around with a camera can do now.
Yeah,
but it's crazy everything they did with this. And there's one thing again on the Blu-ray. If you have the Blu-rays and you listen to the interviews, there's this guy and he's interviewed people on other segments in the Blu-ray. He reminds me of the character that Pete Davidson plays on SNL called Chad, who's just people say so he's like word. Okay, yeah. Okay. If you have the Blu-rays, I recommend just listening to him just to hear this guy go after everything that the director says. I just thought that was really funny. Let's see. And then one last thing, Colgate was the sponsor, and they had Gardol, which is something I'd never heard before. And that's the shit that makes it foam up. Now I know.
Is that banned, or do we still have Gardol in our...
I think
sounds fake. Like, yeah.
I think it's just, they tried to brand it as Gardol, but it's still there. It's just some component that you can't pronounce the name of, You
ever see Brain Candy? Kids in the Hall, Gleeman-X?
Yes,
it's like this fake Gardol. What? It's Gardol.
It makes it 72 degrees in the head all the time.
Exactly.
All right. We will be right back with the meat of this story right after this. All right, Joe. Do this.
Let's dig into the meat. So this is the first episode, I think, where, and I don't know if there are others, but I think this is the first one where the narration appears to be directly at the camera, breaking the fourth wall right at the beginning, because he's talking right at the viewer. And right away, the camera is tilted, so you know something's askew. So seems off his rocker. You got that Dutch angle, as you mentioned earlier.
It's weird how Rod just pops up on that green screen for his intro.
It's the narration within a narration.
It's so silly.
It's so great. And he, at one point, Ellington, I'm just going to refer to him as Ellington. He comes out and he goes, "You must believe." And the first thing I thought was, you got to believe. You got to believe from The Big Wish.
The Big Wish kid. Yeah.
Yes. Aww. Big tall wish. And so he starts telling this story about many years ago, after the First World War. He was on a walking trip through Central Europe. And
I didn't have shit either.
I had this dapper coat, which I had left in the village the rest of my gear, but I had my coat on, but then I was exhausted for some reason. He wasn't British. He keeps saying I'm lost. And eventually Christophus, who names their person Christophus, but that's pretty great. Lets him in. That's the big funky looking dude. And he starts walking into the hermitage, and as the door closes, the camera realigns to straight up and down. And I've seen that in other episodes where if something's crazy, it's crooked, right? It's the Dutch angle, but it kind of levels out, and then you're back to reality. So I thought it was interesting that right after the door closes, it goes back to reality, and then the next scene is him walking through the hallway in the hermitage. And it goes back askew. It twists again. And I was like, whoa.
It's so cool. Yeah, I love that. It's just such a cool, like, visual disorientation.
Right.
I think the Hermitage would be a cool theme hotel too, by the way. It could really do a lot of good stuff with that. If anyone wants to market that.
You guys ever want to be a hermit like that? in your life? There's times, right?
It would be
Well, like all the time. There's rarely do I not want to live that way.
Yeah. I'm like, do I have to take care of a howling man? Is that the only drawback?
That's it? Okay.
Can I get a
Won't touch the
hermitage
staff.
with
That's
central
fine.
air? Is that possible?
It's like having a dog.
Get the ducting run through.
Yeah.
So they you start hearing the howling sound pretty early on, and it's awesome. And of course, the dude's like, Ellington's like, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's the wind. He's like, that was not the wind. Come on. And so he's like, wait here. I have to go get Father Jerome. And so he goes, checks with Father Jerome. He hears the howl again. They head in to talk to Father Jerome, who looks like Moses or something, or, you know, the stereotypical God with the giant poof of white hair and the big giant beard. And he's like, you must leave now, Mr. Ellington. And Ellington's like, why? And as he starts to leave, he kind of stumbles and he's not sure what's going on. And you see the camera turn again, and he passes out and falls down. And then we get our voiceover intro. The prostrate form of Mr. David Ellington, scholar, seeker of truth, and regrettably, finder of truth. A man who will shortly arise from his exhaustion to confront a problem that has tormented mankind since the beginning of time. A man who knocked on the door seeking sanctuary and found instead the outer edges of the Twilight Zone.
How do you
Go to
know it's the
commercial.
outer edges?
Fewer
Rod's
gas
the
one
stations.
who was the ultimate disclaimer on outer edges. It's the fringe.
Out on the fringe of the Twilight Zone. The real weird part of the Twilight Zone. You know,
Super
last week we
weird.
were like, we were kind of near downtown Twilight Zone. This week we were out in where the bait shops are.
It's Twilight Zone fetish community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder when did the Outer Limits come out? So maybe he's trying to cash in on some of that. The outer edges. Might say the limits.
The better show here.
Yeah.
It's a Twilight Zone.
There you go. So he starts up again, back from commercial. The scene starts up, and he's kind of stumbling around, still in a little bit of a daze. And he goes and talks to this guy who's in a cell, and he's been howling. And this guy explains that is there a captive? Can you let me out? And he's like, well, what's going on? He's like, they're mad. They're simply mad. And he talks about how he and his woman were down by the village of Schwarzwald, and they kissed, and Jerome came upon them and started smacking him around with his staff, his very heavy staff, and just for kissing her, apparently. It's like, is it wrong to kiss? And Ellington's like, I guess not. He's like, I didn't think you would think it would be bad. And starts playing all these kind of word games with him, trying to explain, hey, these guys aren't evil. They're just crazy. So please let me out.
Very convincing.
Yeah. And moments later, there's another hand on his shoulder, and he's like, Christophus again, I believe. And he's like, you need to go talk to Brother Jerome right now. And Brother Jerome's like, you need to come with me. We're gonna go talk. And he's like, well, let's just talk here. And he's like, nope, you come with me here. So they go off into Brother Jerome's office. And that's when
Is it the devil back there? The howling? Is that what we heard? Who's got the devil trap?
Could you hear her? Yeah,
I heard some howling.
that's my
I'm
pitch.
on to you, Freddy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Okay. Don't let it out.
So Brother Jerome's like, hey, he says you can't imprison this guy. You're not allowed to imprison a man. And Brother Jerome's like, we have not imprisoned a man. And he's like, okay, but like, you can't tell me you don't hear that, because he's in the background. And he's like, I've heard that sound for every day for 5 years. We have not imprisoned a man. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go. He's like, I'm gonna go to the police. And Brother Jerome's like, okay, hold up.
We don't need to get 5-0 in here.
We don't need any trouble with the police. Here's the deal.
Always blame the plumbing. It's the plumbing. It's always the plumbing.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
weird noise.
gunk, gunk, gunk.
You can't get a good plumber out to the Hermitage. There's
No
no
way.
plumbers out.
he won't make it through the Black Forest. There's like all the Grimm's fairy tales.
This guy gets lost so easily. Just drive him a couple blocks down the street and kick him out of your wagon. You're not going to find his way back.
He has no sense
I'm
of direction.
exhausted. I'm on the road and I'm exhausted. So basically he comes out and says, look, that's no man. That's the devil himself. Lightning strike in the background. Go to commercial. Comes back from commercial. He's like, okay, the devil? And he goes, yes, the devil himself. It was almost like you'd see in a comic book where it's like last issue. Yes, the devil himself. And he goes through to explain that he used to live in the same world that Ellington did. 40 years he made through just fine, traveled to the ends of the earth. And at one point, he found some truth in capturing the devil and keeping him at bay with the staff of truth, not a crucifix. And so it was after the devil had come to the village. Oh yes, the village down below is so happy and so self-assured and takes care of themselves and so positive and God-fearing, distinctly added at the end there, that the devil had to come to the village to corrupt it because it was just too much of a plum. And so
I love this idea.
The staff to imprison the devil. And the world has had 5 years of relative peace. And Ellington's like, okay, but like we still have famine and people are going hungry and there's strife. And he's like, yeah, but that's just stuff that man does to themselves. They don't need the extra devil work going in there for things like World War II and other wars. So
he only does the top level shit.
Right. He's a big picture guy. He's 30,000 foot kind of guy.
Prestige project. His agent don't put anything in front of him that isn't a prestige project.
So anyway, Brother Jerome's like, okay, I believe you. I believe you completely. And Brother Jerome's like, good. I'm so glad. You can leave in the morning, but we're going to have somebody watch you tonight because we're not idiots. And so, unfortunately, he is an idiot in that he leaves Brother Christophus to go with Ellington and go into a cell. But not before that, he talks to the Howling Man and says, they told me this and this. And Howling Man's like, well, you don't believe them, do you? And he's like, no, of course not. I'll see if I can figure out how to get you out. And then Christophus is like, hey, you got to come sleep in this cell and we're going to lock you in. So they go in there, they lock the door. Christophus falls asleep. Ellington somehow removes it from around his neck, which kind of boggles my mind because that dude had a massive beard and a giant head. And I'm like, how did you get it out from the
sleeper?
Right? Must be exhausted at the Hermitage. Anyway. So he grabs a cell and apparently locks Christophus back in, which is actually kind of a smart move. And he comes back to the door, and this is one of my favorite things. He comes back to the door, and the Howling Man's like, okay, you have them quickly before they wake up. Let's, get me out. And he's like, wait, what do I need to do? And he's like, you just need to move the staff. And he's like, it's a staff. You can see that the Howling Man could have clearly grabbed the staff and moved it and like unlodged it a long time ago. And he's kind of confused. And I'm like, ooh, this is like, okay, so I work in IT and I'm like, this is what phishing people do. Like when they're trying to get your information, they're trying to hack you. They're like, ooh, there's a lot of urgency. You have to do something really quick. You have to do it right now. That's the devil's work. Anyway.
It's the devil's work.
The devil's like, the Howling Man is like, you have to move the rod. And so finally he's like, okay, I'll do it. And he moves it. And the door comes open. And as the door comes open, there's this weird like thumping sound in the background, which I think from the previous scene is supposed to be Brother Christophus like banging on the door, trying to wake up somebody else. But it also could be this weird like cosmic thumping of like terrible things happening, as the door opens.
It's definitely like does a great job of underscoring what you're seeing.
Totally. And the music cues come on awesome. And immediately Ellington's like, here, take this coat. It's cold out. And the Howling Man puts it on and then gestures with his hand, and Ellington kind of crumbles to the ground. And in one of my favorite moments, the lighting changes, and it's a close-up on the Howling Man's face. And as the lighting changes, he goes from just this guy you've been looking at to freaking evil.
Isn't that cool? It's just
It was so awesome.
Yeah, just makeup and light. Like they didn't do, and it in the regular lighting, you couldn't see the makeup until it was like invisible ink.
And it's just the way they did it. It was so great. And they lit him from underneath, and you see his eyes kind of flare up, and he grabs his beard, and I'm like, oh, wow. That was very, very effective.
It's the devil, man.
Which is a great lead into, in my opinion, the follow-up, which is very ineffective. I'm sure you're about to talk about, but I loved the lighting effect. It went to straight up Halloween costume, spirit Halloween devil costume.
And then what used to be one of the scene that I remembered from watching this as a kid was then Ellington's kind of looking up, and as the devil is leaving, he walks by these pillars, and each pillar he goes by, his appearance changes a little bit more and a little bit more, and he gets horns and pointy ears and a pointed nose, and his cloak becomes more regal, and it's like, ooh, that's cool. They disguise the cuts in there pretty well.
He's got some fleshy
I feel
horns.
it's such a good idea. Like they needed to stop about like 3 pillars before the end. It's really corny. Like when it finally is over, you may as well have like a big pitchfork and like I'm the devil. You know, like it's so goofy. Like it's like such a goofy devil. Like it's exactly if you were to like cartoonishly picture the devil. I read an anecdote that I guess originally it was supposed to be a little more obscure, and there was like you're supposed to see like a cloven hoof jumping over a wall, which I think would have been a little cooler, like more demonic. But this was again, you know, it starts so good. Like pillar 1, you're, oh, this is cool, and 2 and 3, it's cool. I'm like, okay, stop, and it just goes again. You should have stopped before, and then now we're like 2 pillars deep. And it's just getting cool.
Yeah, but there is something to be said for those Cronenbergian flesh horns he had, like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And look, this was what in 1959. You know, this was like mega cool back then. I'm talking about someone with decades of film, you know, almost like a full century, nearly of you know, 3/4 of a century more of film that has been. You know, this is good for its time.
It's funny because what was it? 3 days, 2.5 or 3 days is all it took to make the episode. Is the part of it that's kind of nuts.
Way back then, too.
Yeah. So it's pretty good.
Oh.
But yeah, it was also, it's silly as shit. Like I saw something just a
I have to, dog. It's why I'm here. I just have to find things. So I'm finding
I saw a dude dressed exactly in Shaggy's colors, like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo at the movie theater. Just a dude walking around dreadlocks and then wearing the green shirt. Is it Pete? No, wait, is the pants green?
Pea green shirt and the like burgundy brown. Yeah.
And he was wearing this outfit, and it totally was not, he wasn't doing it on purpose. You could tell because the shirt was a work shirt from wherever he worked at. It was just one of those moments, man. Like seeing this cartoon devil.
You just saw it. And so in what I thought was a pretty cool moment, he gets to the window, he's kind of arcing his cloak out, and he turns around and just smiles at Ellington and disappears in this poof of smoke, which I don't know. That's pretty badass. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons and you have one of the old school advanced Dungeons and Dragons monster manuals, this dude looks exactly like Asmodeus in the old monster manuals.
Do you think they modeled it on
Asmodeus when I had trouble stomach issues the other night? Asmodeus?
You got to take
Asmodeus AD.
A whole bottle of Asmodeus.
Asmodeus to help you.
Asmodeus Devil. Yeah.
Then you can't have a movement, like any kind of bowel movement for a whole week after.
And so, and then Ellington's like, oh, shit, that was dumb. And what's kind of funny, Brother Jerome comes over, he looks in the cell, and he's like, okay. And he walks over to Ellington, and he goes, I'm sorry for you, my son. All your life, you will remember this night, and you will know, Mr. Ellington, whom you have turned loose on the world. It's like, I didn't believe you. I saw him, and I didn't recognize him. He goes, that is man's weakness and Satan's strength. And then they both kind of freeze there for a second. and there's an extra pause, and then Ellington's voiceover kicks back in and it fades back out, and you realize he's talking to his maid in his apartment or house or something, and he's basically like, from that day I vowed to recapture the devil, and you can see right behind me I've captured him. So that's why you can't unlock this door behind me.
You see this tiny
The
little
devil's in
candy
there.
cane that I pulled off the Christmas tree and painted
When
brown?
you get mini staffs of truth,
Yeah.
perfect
He's got
for your
this
kitchen
tiny
or your
little
small
staff of
living
truth.
area. There's
Yes.
a little bit. Where do you get? It has to be a staff of truth. You can't just get any. You can go on Etsy and order a state. It has to be like these staff. It has to keep the devil in by some sort of
Right.
power. Where did he get a little portable staff of truth? You never
That's-
know when you're going to find the devil. It's good to have on.
Don't you want to know that story? Everything that happened between the night that the devil escaped and what
Yeah,
Ellington
particularly
did?
how is he? I don't,
Right.
what does he do for a living? He's got a maid. It's
Yeah.
must like somewhat affluent, but then he has time to take these walking trips around Europe.
Yeah, he's a
Max.
dilettante.
He mentions that World War II, the Korean War, nuclear weapons, all these things are due to the fact that the devil's been out and about, and
Yeah,
it's his fault. And
we didn't
so
start the
don't
fire.
move the staff. And he's like, I'll be back in a few minutes. I got to go get everything so I can get back to Brother Jerome. Just don't.
How is he
remove
gonna? He says he's gonna
the
send him
staff.
back to Brother Jerome. What's that process like? Too,
Yeah.
by
Right.
the way, is that where he's leaving to go
Exactly.
get like a crate, a shipping crate for the devil?
Aren't you
He pays
kind
for
of
insurance,
also?
I assume?
How old is Brother
Right.
Jerome now? Like 90? He looked like he was
That's a good
70 at
question.
least. Yeah.
Oh
he's
yeah, he wouldn't even be around anymore.
probably not.
Who
I guess he
knows?
just ended off to the hermitage.
He's like Gandalf.
And
he lives forever.
Immediately after Ellington leaves, the maid hears a "Oh," and it startles her. She goes over and, of course, removes the staff
plumbing.
and opens the door.
Mm-mm-mm. There's Warren
And it's-
Zevon.
And it's Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Yeah. And then we get the outro. Ancient folks saying, "You can catch the devil, but you can't hold him long." As Brother Jerome, ask Brother Jerome, ask David Ellington. They know, and they'll go on knowing to the end of their days and beyond in the Twilight Zone.
Brother Jerome's a great character name. I'll remember it, you know. Brother Jerome.
The maid too took like zero convincing. At least the
Yeah.
devil had to work a little bit on Ellington. The maid didn't even. She's just like, I'm not. Immediately, guy walks in the
Yeah.
door within seconds. She's like, staff of truth. I'm done.
She hates
See
her
what's in the
boss
store.
from the. She already. Don't you feel there's some backstory there where you're like, this guy is a total prick to her.
Yeah. He
This
says
guy's
the
a
toilets
loon.
aren't clean enough. We're gonna fucking let the devil out of this closet. We'll see if the toilets aren't clean enough.
Do you see this toilet? It's the devil's work. It's terrible. Clean it up.
That room's just full of baby oil. Ellington's a bad man.
The devil is Diddy?
Yep, the
He's a
devil is
freak.
Diddy. Diddy's the devil. Oh boy.
Oh.
Who knows where that
So,
case
yeah.
will be by the time this is.
You know
Wow.
what's weird? This story it has like a feel like a common tale, like something you've heard, the devil being trapped and then unleashed, and some like it tricks you and unleashed. And I can't think of like where or why, and maybe it isn't. Maybe this is the first instance. Again, getting to like 3/4 of a century of pop culture and cinema ahead, but it just has that feel of like I've heard this or like this is a
Yeah.
tale of time. I don't think it is. I think was this the creation of this story, the Howling Man?
Don't you feel like it's
It
a
might
riff
be.
kind of on the Garden of Eden thing, like with a couple of
Yeah.
a little bit of that, but also, the thing with the brotherhood is a nice addition when you add all the more human elements into it by having this group that is trying to protect the world from him is an interesting bit that I don't think I'd ever seen
Yeah.
before. Maybe dragons
Yeah.
or some shit. Maybe knights guarding a cave with a dragon in it or something like that. Maybe might be the closest thing I can think of. The Knights Templar.
And I feel like this has been repeated many, many, many times since in variations. And what's the Cabin in the Woods is another version, you know,
Or
kind of.
even the
and-
Ring.
Yeah, totally.
The Ring is really just a version of the Howling Man with a little girl
Yeah.
instead of a howling man, a howling
Yeah.
child.
Now the maid, I guess, has to find the devil. Is that what we ascertain? It's her. She's not going to do any good. I feel like.
I don't think she
She'll give
cares
up.
enough. She's like, well,
No.
42nd Street can't get much worse. I think they're in New York at this point, too.
She's got Bravo to watch or something.
Yeah.
She can't have for this Vanderpump new Vanderpump season starting. She can't be chasing the devil around.
That's right.
She probably
We got
doesn't have a
things to
job.
do.
She definitely got fired for that, right? There's no way he kept it.
Do you feel
After
like
between the toilet and letting the devil out?
letting the devil out of the toilet? There's an idea. That's a new story you could write. You know, yeah. What it does. It feels like the beginning of a trope.
Okay, wait a
Sure.
minute. What if this is a crossover? What if that's actually Mary Poppins?
Get out.
Her
Mary
origin
Poppins
story.
comes up with all this magic, right?
Yeah.
Become powerful enough to capture the devil again. But as part of that, she,
It's a
did
black
some-
magic thing. You
You're
know
right.
what?
She
You know
had
what's going to
to
happen?
keep herself young.
That IP is going to become public domain at some point, and someone's going to make exactly what you just described. Asylum or one of those companies. is gonna do
Yeah.
it.
We're due.
The Howling Man, though, man, what a great episode. I
So good.
again, despite the corny looking devil, which I have a soft spot for, because
Totally.
it feels like Halloween devil, It feels like
It's so Halloween-y. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
so it's
Yeah.
kind of makes it fun. But yeah, good stuff. Read the story if you can. I think you can get it from the library. A lot of Charles Beaumont stuff, and it's slightly different. But great
Now-
concept.
Craziness that we've got this back to back with next week, which is one of the, if not the most well-known, greatest Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah,
It's a
the-
stunner.
People know this episode, whether they know what the Twilight Zone is or not. They probably know the bandaged face from Eye of the Beholder.
And in the meantime, listening audience, let's make this Mary Poppins horror movie happen. I feel like this is a great idea. Someone needs to grab this up. It's not like,
I wonder.
supercalifragilistic deadly or something. It's got to be something we can do with this.
Is she eating
I
the
love it.
kids or something? Is there a chimney sweep in it?
An umbrella, but it's got like spike at the end. You can impale people with it and
It's
stuff.
brilliant.
Hunting the darkest evil.
You got the Winnie the Pooh and the Mickey Mouse one. Like, now's the time, right?
Maybe-
People are making things.
Get Lloyd Kaufman to make it, Matt. You have an in.
A spoonful of holy water helps the devil go down.
It'll be James Gunn's return to low budget filmmaking. The Mary Poppins story.
Mary Poppins, Devil Hunter.
So, yeah, we'll be back in 1 week's time. And Matt's going to join us again. Eye of the Beholder. And we have a special treat next week to close out the episode. One of Matt's songs inspired by the series. Thanks,
Woo.
guys.
Thank you, Freddie.